Hi, y'all. David here. You know me. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be leading us through I call it a creative problem solving session on what we're going to do regarding our next season and how the COVID-19 pandemic might impact that. So, I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of the process we're going to go through so that we can expedite our meeting and not be spinning our wheels, and you kind of have some insight as to exactly what we'll be doing. And then there's also a little bit of pre-work that we'll ask you to do to make sure that we come into the meeting prepared. And again, we're not spinning our wheels, spending any time doing anything that could be done ahead of time or that we don't need to be doing. So here we go. This is an overview to the process. The creative problem solving process is all about making lists and making choices. Okay? Um, First, there's many steps in this process. In every step, we have the divergent thinking phase where we come up with lots of ideas, or as the graphic says here, create choices. And then we go into the convergent phase, which is we look at all of the choices, we evaluate them, we make the choices. And I also have ideation strategies that we will use for trying to expand the divergent thinking phase and turn 30 ideas into 100 ideas. The more ideas we have in a lot of these phases, the better. Here's how the session on Wednesday will work. There'll be a little bit of a warm-up that we'll do just to get the creative juices going in our brain, to help get our brains used to coming up with lots of ideas and going in different directions. So that'll be the warm-up. Then we'll go over what we did with the pre-work, and then we have assessing the situation. What do things look like right now in the state of our theater, our performers, our audience, our town, the pandemic? Okay, what does the situation look like right now? Then we have exploring the vision, which is a year from now, what do we want to look like? What do we want people to say about us? What do we want ourselves to have done? What do we want the state of Carousel Theater to look like 1 year from now? And then from that, formulating the challenge is going to be a single challenge statement. Um, it may not be how do we do shows this season. That might not actually be the challenge statement we come up with. Then we have exploring ideas. So given the challenge, all these ideas of how to meet the challenge. Um, Now this is where things get interesting because normally in a creative problem solving session you have, one challenge statement and then you have your idea that comes out of it that we pursue. But here we actually need to come up with not only ideas but also if statements. So if this is happening with the pandemic, if this is happening, if this is happening. And our goal is going to be to come up with three if statements, but notice we're doing that second. Okay? The first thing we're doing is 35 to 100 ideas based on our problem statement, and then the if statements. The reason for that is I don't want our ideation to be constrained by our if statements. I want our if statements to come out of our ideation. And then we have our action plan. So we'll have those 35 to 100 ideas, and then we will drill that down in the convergent stage into our top 6 to 10, and we'll eventually figure out what we will do for each of our 3 if statements, and we'll have our action plan from that. Couple quick things here. When we are divergent thinking, we have 4 rules for that. Deferring judgment means we are not, when someone gives an idea, we are not evaluating that idea yet. It's just going to be give an idea, we'll write it down. Give an idea, we'll write it down. Give an idea, write it down. This process does ensure that bad ideas are not implemented, but the divergent phase of all these steps is not where we judge the ideas or evaluate the ideas. We just want ideas. Striving for quantity. The more we have, the more we can use. Going out and getting wild or unusual ideas, and then building off other people's ideas. Those are our ground rules for the divergent phase. And then in the convergent phase, we have be affirmative, be deliberative, check our objectives. So every time as we're evaluating an idea, how does it relate to our problem statement? How can we improve our ideas? And then consider the novel ideas, okay? If a wild idea might be 80% good, how can we make it 100% good? All right. And then finally, a couple things you're going to need. I would say potentially two devices. I think and if you're zooming on an iPad, that's not going to be completely sufficient. You might need a computer next to you because there'll be some other websites we open, some Google Docs we work off of, and also a tool I have called Padlet, which is going to allow us to have walls of sticky notes even though we are virtual. So I think doing Zoom and having those tools open side by side on an iPad won't work. I think if you are on an actual computer or laptop, that will be fine with just the one device. But if you're just on an iPad, iPad only, I don't think it'll work. Maybe a phone and an iPad side by side would work, but not an iPad by itself. A writing pad or utensil. This would be if we are discussing and you have any ideas that come up and you don't want to forget them before we have a chance to get to you, write your ideas down. And then this random image set. So you're going to see this in your email, but one of my ideation strategies, hold on here. One of my ideation strategies does involve looking through random images and trying to make associations here. So what I've done is these are just 117 random images downloaded from the internet, and I'll ask you to look at them, make associations and whatnot. So have a device where you can open this folder of images. I'll send it out by email. That's what you need for that. All right, so let's go into our pre-work, and that should take care of this. So first, our pre-work is going to be assessing the situation. I will send out in email the link to this key data form. And what we want to look at is what is all of the information we have regarding our current problem. The COVID-19 pandemic making it difficult to present our 20 to 21 season as we typically present a season. I have possible questions here, but you're not limited to these. But we're going to sort them out here in 3 columns: facts and figures, intuitions and feelings, and stories. You can see I've already put some things in here. We might have specific data points regarding the COVID, the case rate, the expected case rate, things like that. Joel, I might kind of rely on you heavily for the facts and figures on the medical stuff there. But go ahead. Any gut feelings, any stories you've heard, things other theaters are doing, okay? These can all go into this form here. So go ahead and fill this out to the best of your ability. Maybe take several days as you think on it. You'll come up with other ideas and you'll want to log back in and put some things in here. Notice how I put my name in parentheses next to everything that I put down. That way we can follow up with you if we need to. So that is assignment number 1 for pre-work. Your pre-work assignment number 2 is going to be this one. I want you to think of Carousel Theater 1 year from now. And even given the pandemic, what would you like us to have achieved 1 year from now? Goals, dreams, visions, pardon me, but phrase them as if it would be great if, that should be it. It would be great if, or I wish, okay? Those would be some great sentence starters there. Come up with multiple, not just one, because I am going to push the group to try to have 25 different statements here. But this is our vision for, given the world we're in right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, what is your vision for what Carousel has achieved 1 year from now? Or what the state of Carousel Theater looks like in our community, what people think of us, anything like that. What's your vision for Carousel 1 year from now? Write down at least one, if not several statements for us to look at. Don't share them yet. We will share them out as part of our session. So you'll have all these resources in your email. You'll have a Zoom link. Oh, also one more thing that I'm going to share with you right here. This is a document that I will send out. These are just our creative problem solving rules for working together. And that should do that. Feel free to email me with any questions, and I will look forward to facilitating this with you all on Wednesday.